The conversation between Tom Bilyeu and Bret Weinstein covers a wide range of complex and controversial topics, centering around the current state of Western civilization, evolutionary biology, free speech, censorship, and the importance of open inquiry and debate. Weinstein, an evolutionary biologist, argues that many of society's current problems stem from a systematic blinding of the public to important truths driven by powerful elites seeking to maintain their advantage. He emphasizes the need to explore difficult topics openly, even when uncomfortable, in order to find solutions to societal problems. Weinstein expresses deep concern about the current trajectory of Western civilization, arguing that we are witnessing its potential collapse. He attributes this to several factors, including the end of a long period of economic growth, the rise of authoritarian tendencies, and the erosion of key Western values like free speech and open inquiry. He argues that the West, particularly the United States, accidentally solved an evolutionary puzzle by creating a system that allowed for cooperation across different lineages, what are often called races. This system, based on reciprocal altruism rather than shared genes, led to unprecedented innovation and prosperity. However, as growth has stalled, Weinstein fears people are reverting to more tribal, lineage-based modes of cooperation, threatening the foundations of Western success. A central theme of the conversation is the critical importance of free speech and the ability to explore controversial ideas. Weinstein argues that many of society's most pressing problems can only be solved through open, honest discussion and investigation, even when the topics are uncomfortable or potentially offensive. He gives examples such as exploring the evolutionary basis of rape or genocide, not to justify these acts, but to understand how to prevent them more effectively. He contends that by making certain topics taboo or off-limits, we hamper our ability to find real solutions. Weinstein is highly critical of current trends towards increased censorship and what he calls polite society, the social pressure to conform to certain ideas or avoid certain topics. He argues that this tendency, while perhaps well-intentioned, ultimately serves to protect those in power and prevent necessary change. He uses the example of going on Alex Jones' show, which caused controversy, but which he defends as necessary to reach audiences and explore ideas outside of mainstream discourse. He emphasizes that the value of an idea should be judged on its merits, not on who is expressing it. Throughout the conversation, Weinstein applies concepts from evolutionary biology to understand human behavior and societal structures. He introduces the concept of lineages as a more precise way to understand what are often called races, defining a lineage as an individual and all their descendants. He argues that understanding these evolutionary dynamics is crucial for addressing issues like racism and tribalism. He also discusses how evolutionary thinking can shed light on topics like human sexuality, the structure of families, and even the placement of the clitoris, a topic he explores in response to a question from Bilyeu. One particularly sensitive topic discussed is the question of IQ differences between populations. Weinstein argues that while there are likely real differences in cognitive capabilities between adult populations, these differences are probably not primarily genetic in origin. Instead, he suggests they are largely due to developmental factors. He contends that by avoiding this topic out of fear, we miss the opportunity to understand how to potentially improve cognitive capabilities across all populations. He emphasizes that there is likely significant untapped potential in all human groups. Weinstein introduces the concept of the time-traveling money printer to explain why powerful elites might want to keep the public in the dark about certain realities. He argues that by having private knowledge of future events or trends, such as the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, elites can make incredibly profitable investments, essentially giving them the power of a time machine. This incentivizes them to control and manipulate information to maintain their advantage. A significant portion of the conversation focuses on the state of education and what Weinstein sees as intentional opportunity hoarding by elites. He argues that the poor state of public education is not an accident, but rather a result of powerful people not wanting others' children to be able to compete with their own. He contends that truly fixing education would require a commitment to maximizing the potential of all children, regardless of background. In an interesting tangent, Weinstein shares his views on pornography and its impact on sexual development. He draws a distinction between erotica, which he sees as a natural and potentially positive human creation, and pornography produced for profit, which he views as inherently problematic. He argues that profit-driven pornography inevitably leads to increasingly extreme and potentially harmful content, as producers compete for attention in a saturated market. Both Bilyeu and Weinstein emphasize the power of narrative in shaping society and individual behavior. Bilyeu discusses his own mission to spread empowering narratives, particularly the idea of a growth mindset through storytelling. Weinstein agrees with the importance of narrative, arguing that it's often more effective than logical arguments in changing minds and behaviors. Despite the many challenges discussed, Weinstein does offer some thoughts on potential solutions and ways forward. He emphasizes the need to protect and reinvigorate the core values of Western civilization, particularly free speech and open inquiry. He argues for the importance of understanding complex issues deeply, even when uncomfortable, as the best way to find effective solutions. He also suggests that improving education and creating more opportunities for all people to develop their potential could help address many societal issues. Weinstein briefly mentions his Unity 2020 plan, a proposal for political reform in the United States. While not discussed in detail, he suggests that such fundamental changes to the political system may be necessary to address the deep-seated problems facing Western societies.